This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hello and welcome to Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Teider. My guest today is Jasmin Gonzales. Jasmin is a former TV presenter and a voice coach. And I love how she's saying she's teaching women to find their voice, because she really is. And especially through her new project, her new book called We Are the Daughters of the Witches You Couldn't Burn. When it came out in Germany, so the original title is Wir sind die Töchter der Hexen, die ihr nicht verbrennen konntet. I saw the book and I saw the cover, which I love, and I was just mesmerized. I'm like, I have to read this and I have to invite Jasmin to come and join us in Thank You Mama. Jasmin is based in Germany and she's a mom of one son. Jasmin, welcome.
Hey, Anna. I am very happy to be your guest, and this is my first time talking about my book in English, so bear with me.
We will. No worries. Jasmin, where are you in Germany?
I am originally from Cologne, what we call Echt-Kölsch-Mädchen, but I'm now living like 20 kilometers in front of Cologne.
So you're still around Cologne?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please, Jasmin, tell me about yourself. I want to hear about your work until now and how it all led to the book. And let's talk about the book. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm reading it right now and it's just so fun.
Thank you. Well, I think I've always been that's what I consider myself, a girl with a voice. And I've had, since I was a very little girl, different outlets of how to use my voice. But I started as a writer. I taught myself how to read and write when I was 4, and reading has ever since been one of my biggest pleasures. And I always wrote, so that was my outlet. How to cope with the situation, which hasn't always been the most easiest to cope with. And I became a singer. I know that there are no coincidences, but I did not proactively try to become a singer. I started as a songwriter, lyrics and melody, and I started singing in church, and the producer heard me sing, and I started doing demo tracks. And then he said, well, you've got such a beautiful voice yourself. Why don't you sing it yourself? And so I became a singer, although I consider myself a introvert who just has some extrovert tendencies. I did not enjoy being on stage, singing songs of others. It was just the way I earned my money to pay my rent, and good money. So I did it, but it never felt like home, or some artists would say, I need the applause, I need to be on stage. For me, that was always the part I did not enjoy. Yeah. So, and I became a TV presenter because as a vocal coach, I was the vocal coach of a woman who runs a huge a TV production company, and she saw basically a YouTube video of mine and said, hey, you're made for this. Would you like to really learn how to be a journalist? And so I did that. Yeah. And then I ended up being a journalist, and I realized I like telling stories, but I hated telling stories that have no sense and meaning to me. And that's when I stopped it and became the voice and video coach, which resulted out of the demand for my work. Yeah, video grew more and more, and women in my case, came to me and asked, hey, you know how to use techniques, which mic to use, which camera to use, which I didn't know because I had a cameraman and I had a sound guy. I never did this myself as a TV presenter, but I learned it. I created a course for it, and I started to enjoy it because for me, it was always the work, the transformational work behind it, because when a woman or a person in general steps in front of a camera, it's the most direct reflection of yourself there can be. It's your voice, it's your mimics, it's your body language, and it doesn't get clearer and purer reflection like this. And for many people, especially women, all of the insecurities come out. And I think I'm a transformational coach because I see those. I I just don't see. I feel it, and I especially feel the reason for it, and that's what I try to bring up and try to help them to work through, to basically be just okay with yourself, be okay with your story, and just like yourself the way you are, and get rid of the, sorry, excuse my French, of all the shit that we have been put into our brains from the moment that we, I don't know, come out of the wounds of our mothers.
Jasmin, I love it how through coaching them for voice and video, you're actually, it sounds like you're helping women's self-esteem and self-insurance.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. So is this what the book came from? How did the book happen?
More or less, some parts of it are because of my work. And I now think that I have been all my life trained to write this book. This has been nothing but a training. I was self-employed as a voice and video coach when Corona hit. And I was just a mom of a 6-month-old. And this could have been the biggest high of my business, because everybody was in demand of my work and everybody wanted to work with me. And I felt like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not what I'm here for. And it became so strong. I'm having goosebumps all over again. It became so strong that I had physical manifestations. Every time I went into my office, my stomach would go like, my stomach was closing, and I really felt like the walls were closing upon me. And I noticed, because I have had, let's say, 2 depressive phases in my life before, as a young woman, like 14 to 16, and after my mother died. So I knew the signs of, and I describe it as my light was becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. The flickering was gone. And I felt like, girl, your flicker is about to go out, and you have a 6-month-old, and this is not the thing. This is not how it's supposed to be going. So in May is always a very turbulent time emotionally for me, because it's my birthday, it's my mother's birthday, it's her day of death, and everything within 10 days. So it's always, I don't have to, but the mother-daughter theme always comes up during this period of time. And I felt this so intensively this time that I said, okay, this is a sign. Come on, you can pretend to be blind for just so long. This is a sign. Dare to look into this direction. And I said, okay, I'm going to stop for 10 days, take off for 10 days, and just do what my soul wants, and try to bring my light back, if you know what I mean. And I thought to myself, what do you enjoy the most? I enjoy singing, and I enjoy inspiring, motivational conversations with amazing women. This is what really feeds my soul. So I just recorded a video for 10 women that I've been following online. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't know. And I basically said, listen, it's my 40th birthday, and I would like to for you to be my birthday present, because I want to have a very, very honest conversation with you about how you became who you are, because obviously you are somewhere where I still want to go, and I want to know how you did it. And the interview series Mindset Mastery is a result of it. And during this Mindset Mastery, in the night of my mother's birthday, I dreamt that I will write this book. I saw the title and I saw the cover, and I was like, what the F? Because of this title, I mean, it's special, right? I would have...
So specific.
Very specific, but I would have never chosen it for my book. Never. Because I wasn't yet the person to write this book. During the process of research and writing, I 100% became the person who needs to write this book. But when I dreamt it, I felt like, what the F? Come on, can I get another title? This is like, what is it? To be honest, yeah. So I dreamt it. I dreamt every little step of it. And I saw it's going to be big, and I saw that it's going to help a lot of women. And that's why I was very sure inside the whole time that this is not just a dream. This is a marking point in my life. Yeah.
A turning point. Yeah.
A turning point. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Are you excited now? I'm following you on Instagram, and I see mothers and daughters reading the book together and being inspired. Are you getting the love back? I'm sure you are.
I can't even begin to tell. Just yesterday, I had the first in-depth interview with a guy, a male interviewer, and that was one of the most beautiful interviews I've ever had. And I didn't expect that. The love I got back from him, father of 2 sons, who said he thought that this book wasn't for him because it's a book for females, but he said this is a book every man should read, and I agree, because every man on this planet was born by a mother, and every man on this planet will encounter women in their lives, if it's as a partner or a friend or a coworker, and they should know why we behave, how we behave, and they should know how to treat us in a respectful way. And we can't even blame them because they have been conditioned just as much as we are not to treat us respectfully. And the worst thing to me is that 98% of those men have been raised by women. So it's difficult to see through what's right and wrong sometimes. I get it. So my intent was to write a book that you read and you enjoy reading it, because the language is easy to understand, easy to digest. And I wanted to give just as much personal experience of mine not to be abstract, so you can really relate and understand what I'm pointing at. And I wanted it to be give them like a historical background on how the patriarchy and the suppression of the feminine has evolved and which are the causing factors. And it seems like I accomplished just that, and that makes me fucking proud. Yes, I am proud. Yeah.
As you're speaking, I just realized we did not describe the book to the listeners. Because most of my listeners are English speaking. They will not be able to. Yes. Will you tell me a little bit about the book itself?
I'd love to. I mean, the title, if you get the title, you might be thinking of, I don't know, women riding on what's the name for bees? Do you know it? On brooms, women riding on brooms or dancing around fireplaces. And this is just the cliche of an understanding of a witch. To me, a witch is just the acronym for woman in total control of herself. And women have always been suppressed and mistreated, abused, and killed just for the fact that they have been in control of their lives, or tried to be in control of their life, or even dared to speak their minds, dared to educate themselves. During the mid-age times, I really researched deeply how somebody would be able to be sentenced as a witch. You just needed an accuser, and that's it. The accuser was always anonymous, so there has been no way for the woman to explain or defend herself. There simply wasn't. So a woman who fell in love with the wrong guy or did not sleep with the guy who wanted her to sleep with. I mean, there are so many reasons. A woman who had a fortune, a woman who just owned a tiny thing that somebody else wanted. You could just say she's a witch. Then she was burned and her whole family was, sentenced in some way as well. And it still hasn't changed. I mean, nowadays, more women in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, more women
in Africa,
yeah. More women than ever. Women, and especially children, are cursed as witches and therefore killed or abused, gang raped, set on fire. I mean, the worst things you can think of, they still happen today and more than ever. And it's just a part of how to suppress the so-called weak, in most cases, are women, elderly, sick people, and children. And I mean, we are still somehow barbaric in our behaviors.
We are.
And I describe how it still takes place. And I mean, we're talking now, we're both in Germany. We're not burned, but we are burned. If you look on social media, that's just the, witch hunt next level. Yeah, witch hunt 2.0. The witch hunt has just changed. And And the witch wound, which so many people don't even know about, exists in everybody, in every physical body of a woman walking on this earth. And I wasn't aware because I was, and in some parts I still am, the queen of self-sabotage. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand why. Why am I acting this way? I'm let's be honest, fairly intelligent young woman. No, more or less young woman. Why can't I just be as successful, as straightforward as others? Because there are so many factors inside of me that hinder me and hold me back that I'm not even aware of. Nobody has taught me. We don't learn how to really be witches, as in women in total control of themselves in school. I didn't know how to cope with my emotions. I didn't know how to cope with my trauma. I didn't know how to cope with the energies. I'm a highly sensitive person, and I'm a medium since ever. I didn't know how to handle those gifts, which I always thought were curses, And I just thought maybe I'm the only freak walking on this planet because I always felt like, but maybe I'm not. And therefore, I wrote this book because I wanted to just help others to understand themselves, and not just understand, to realize how we work, our brains, our emotions, and to use our brain and emotions in our favor instead of against us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And basically love ourselves. If a woman who loves herself, radiates love and joy. And we all are walking on this planet not as a coincidence. We all have a mission. We all have meaning. We all have a voice. We all have a voice that is meant to be heard. We are not meant to just get by or go through the motions. This is not what we're here for. I 100% know that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So it's basically empowering women and helping them, as you said, love themselves and accept themselves and recognize the power, the power that we carry within us. Yeah. Accept that and recognize it.
I just wanted to say that, except that we have tremendous power and we are not aware. We just basically, most of us use their 5 senses, but we have more than those 5 senses, and they are considered to be supernatural, which is to me total bullshit, because they are nothing but natural. It is natural, and it is, I was about to say learnable. We don't need to learn it. We just need to remember it. We all have those abilities inside of us.
But even if it's just trusting your instincts and trusting your gut instinct and your energies, when you sit next to somebody, you're like, I feel strange next to this person. Like, even trusting your guts and the energy you feel, that's already a step forward.
Oh, I mean, that's the beginning of it. Yeah. That's just totally the beginning of it. And then you need to have reference experiences. You need to realize, my gut was telling the truth. I had a dream and that sort of came true. Oh, so this is supposed to tell me something. I felt something with this person and I was totally right. We get our information through, so much higher. It's, at the end of the day, it's all frequency. It's all sound waves. It's all energy. And this is the language that we should focus on, because this language is so more detailed and so more advanced. We just don't take it as important because that's not how we learn in school, what we learn in school.
Yeah. Men's world is the rational world, and that's what it's been for the past millennials, But I do hope that we are opening up to the more female aspect of our existence. I hope that we will slowly start accepting it and learning it and being open to it.
Oh, I'm 100% sure. Yeah. But as you read my book, I wrote at least 10 times, it's up to us. Yeah, it's up to us. It's not up to somebody else, to one front runner. It's up to every single person to dare to trust on their instincts, to dare to to stand in for their core values, not those values that we learn from the minute that we put a step foot on this earth, because this is just conditioned bullshit over 100 years, hundreds of years conditioned bullshit. We should dare to really use our brains to ask ourselves, is this really my value, or am I just repeating the values of those around me? So, and if not, I mean, I just want to ask women, and basically everybody, but ask people to dare to burst their barriers, which are made by themselves. Nobody can put a barrier on you. You cannot be caged if you don't allow to be caged. I know it sounds so, what the F? There are specific circumstances, and I've been through some of them, that makes you feel different, but I've realized nobody can force me to think something that I don't want to think unless I allow it, unless I allow conditioning to happen. And to even be aware that you're conditioned is the first step, I for so many decades, I wasn't even aware how intensively I am conditioned. In the process of writing this book, I tried to really write down every layer of grayness, of darkness that has been put on my soul and how it came about. And I had so many ahas myself writing this book. And if every woman would do this work, at the end of getting rid of all those fucking layers, you find the shining light that you are. And you think, damn, I'm great. I mean, when you wake up and think, damn, I'm great. I didn't. Yeah.
Jasmin, let's jump to Mama. Let's talk about Mama. Mama Greta Marie, will you tell me about her?
Yes. I'm the last of 5 children. And when I was born, she was intensively depressed. And being a late mother again, I was born when she was 40, didn't help. So I feel like I didn't know my mother, because everybody says she used to be somebody else before I was born. I mean, she was depressed already, and they say that she was stunningly beautiful, like Hollywood movie star beautiful, and that she was, in her stars was written, you are going to be on the beautiful side of life. And she was with very rich men. And then when she became pregnant and one of them didn't want to have the baby, she decided to divorce him and had the baby on her own. And then the second one, she had 3 babies with, also left her. I mean, she did have mental issues, let's face it. So she was a very disappointed, desperate, discouraged woman when I came into her life. And somehow I was the only one, because all my siblings, because they're much older than I am. My oldest brother, 13 years older than I am. They all left, and I was left alone with her anger, with her frustration, with her disappointment, with her, my life wasn't supposed to be like this. And she blamed, I was the only one to blame, because I was the only one who was there.
Yeah. And your dad is from Tunisia, you told me. Was he there, or did she raise you by herself?
She raised us by herself, yeah. Well, basically, I have to say, my oldest brother raised us. My mother didn't raise us. My brother raised us, and he was a child. So, yeah.
And did she have a profession? Did she work, or was she a...
She was just a beautiful face.
She was a mom and a beautiful
face. She was really somebody who was taught and totally relied on her beauty.
Oh, wow.
And this is exactly what she taught my older sister. And which is fatal, which has been fatal. And because when I was a child, I was chubby, and I wasn't, how you say that? I always spoke my mind. I was always in confrontation. I just wasn't easy to handle. And so she said, well, she is never going to get a man, because that's basically what she said, because she's fat and ugly, but she's smart. So she better take care of her brain. So one day she will be able to take care of herself. So I did get different conditioning My sister did get the conditioning, you better find a rich man who takes care of you and me.
So what happened to your sister? Did she find a rich man?
My sister became just what my mother conditioned her to be, a prostitute.
Oh my God. Like, yes. Really?
Really, yes. And she started at a very early age. She was, my sister was stunningly beautiful too. Yeah. She was taught, and for her it was, what am I supposed to say? But my sister always said that my mother was her first pimp, and it's somehow true.
Oh, wow. Did she get out of that?
She did, but after, let's say, 25 years of brutal desperation, because beauty fades. Yeah. And so does self-esteem. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How is she doing now?
I think she's doing fine.
Okay.
I mean, of course, she has had anorexia, bulimia. I mean, she's struggling with her weight a lot because beauty is somewhat has in her definition somewhat been the only thing. Her body has been the thing that she could control. Her eating, which had effect of people like men like me, or they don't. So if I don't want to be, then she just ate. I mean, and she's this type of person who loses. She at least 8 times gained and lost like 40 kilos, like huge amounts. Yeah, it's horrible. But I think she's doing fine. She's absolutely honest with her, with her way. She's married now to a nice guy, and I wish her all the best. But we've never been close because she has been conditioned so different than I am, and her values have been so different than mine. The book helped. To get that. Yeah.
So, Jasmin, you left the house when you were 14. You escaped from all of that when you were 14. And since then, and you started taking care of yourself when you were 14, jobbing and doing work. Yeah. That's amazing. What happened to your mom?
She became sick very early. I mean, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, wheeling chair, the whole bit. She basically she nearly ate herself to death. You can say that.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mother, he took care really, my brother, not my mother. My brother took care of my mother for at least 12, 13 years. And then there was one, and I always said, I want nothing to do with that woman. But then my brother said one sentence, and he said, I am 45 now. I finally want to have a life. I can't do this shit no more.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to take care of her. And the last 1.5 years, she was full of cancer by then. I took care of her. And I'm so happy I did. Yeah.
That gave you the opportunity to kind of face what was and face her. And
yes,
I don't want to say mend, because I don't think you can mend such deep bruises. But I don't know if we mentioned, I read it in the book, she was physically abusive to you, wasn't she?
Yeah, to all of us.
Yeah.
Heavily, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, later she couldn't because she was weak. And I left because she hit me, and I woke up one night with a huge knife in my hand. And just the thought of, okay, maybe 10 to 15 times, you can do it. Just hard, you have to do it often. Very clear thoughts. And that was and then I felt I'm having goosebumps all over. I literally felt like somebody was holding my hand, because I was determined with that knife. I thought about it, and in my head, I did it already so many times. I was determined, but it felt like somebody held my hand. And that was the night my sister was living in Berlin, which is like a 6-hour ride from where I was. And I called her that night. I left the house in my pajamas. I sat in front of the park bench that was close to our house. And I said, you need to get me right now. I can never go back, or there will be a huge disaster. And she came right away, and she got me the next morning in my pajamas, sitting on the bench, and I never went back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, life is crazy. You're a hero. So now we have the difficult situation where we heard what a difficult childhood it was and a difficult mother. Let's try learning from her.
I would love to. I don't even put the emphasis on difficult childhood because, like I said, and of course, it's retrospective that I see that. Back then, I didn't see it, to be honest. But now I see that I have been trained all my life to become who I am, to become the woman who writes this book, and to become the woman that will start a movement and change the lives of so many other women. Because what this childhood did, it just strengthened and enlightened my senses in such intensity that I could, through, when I was in my room, there was a bathroom and a living room and a kitchen tour, and then her bedroom, and I could sense the mood of her. So I knew because it was like war at home, there were mines on the floor everywhere. And I was like, okay, today's not a good day to get out or to get in front of her. So my empathy is so highly evolved, which as a vocal coach made me the amazing vocal coach I am, because I knew why people weren't able to use their voices. It's 90%. It's not the organ. It's the soul that doesn't want to sing. It's the soul that doesn't want to speak. It's the voice inside that needs training, in quotes. Yeah, it's not the organical vocal cords that need to be trained to work. It's the voice inside that wants to be heard. And that's what I did as a vocal coach, and that's what I did as a video coach as well. I empowered women to really say what they want to say and to really find visibility with the topics they want to be seen for, and not what they think they should go out with. During working with me, many women changed their business outlook totally because they realized, okay, this is not at all what I want to do. It's just what I was trained to do, or what I have been told to do, or what I think I'm good at. I used to call myself voice and video coach, and now I call myself voice and video witch. because I do have senses that everybody has, but not everybody uses. Yeah.
But let's go back to the lessons. So,
sorry. What I definitely learned is that asking, and this is really one of my toughest lessons to learn and to live, is that asking for help is not weak. It's actually real strength. And my mother, she should have been, should is the wrong word. It would have been good for her own sanity and her own soul to ask for help, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to see. It was for her. It was, and it worked. From the outside, we were somehow a family that functioned well. We were well-behaving kids because we were scared as fuck. Because we would be beat up. But outside, we worked. We were. She was the strong woman who raised 5 kids by herself, but it was my brother who raised us, so she never asked for help, and she would have needed professional help. But again, 40 years or 45 years before now, depression wasn't such a topic, and women didn't have so much help as they have now. I learned that if you need help, it's strength. It's really a superpower to be able to ask for help.
To acknowledge, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but to acknowledge that you need help. You need to be strong in order to say and acknowledge and recognize.
Yes.
I can't do this by myself. I want to do it, but I can't. I will take help in order to do it.
And my experience has been that people are good. They want to help. People want to help. If somebody is honestly in need of help and somebody admits it, people want to help.
Thank you for that one.
You're welcome. What was my second one? And there are so many lessons. It was really difficult for me to just point out some, but I think another lesson that I've learned, because I was the one who has been suffering from it so intensively, is as a mother, don't give up on your dreams. Because if you are a mother who gives up on your dreams, one day you will accuse your child of being the reason for it. This is not fair. Go for your dreams, not for your own sake, but also for the sake of the people around you. That's what I've learned. It's not selfish. It's not selfish to aim for your own happiness.
Because only
exactly.
if you're happy, you can give happiness or project happiness, and the other people can relax around you. One of my guests said, when the mom was always in a bad mood and depressed, the kids were so busy trying to mend that, So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I became the entertainer because I wanted to entertain her. I remember singing for her, being the host. We always played like mini playback show at home, and I tried to cheer her up and, make her not hate me, That's what I think this is where my so-called talent came from. I developed it to bring some ease into my heavy loading home.
Yep. Let's talk about the self-care. That one seems to be so important. We can't stress it enough. Yeah.
That's the lesson I've learned, and I have to admit, in the same sentence, I'm struggling with it a little bit myself, being a mother now. But self-care is such a big lesson. If you don't take care of your own sanity, you will lash out on your kids, on your husband, on your co-workers. So it's not just and I always thought, because I was conditioned this way, if I do something for myself, I'm egoistic. But it's actually a very social act to take care of yourself. No, seriously, I realize it, because if I don't, for me, it doesn't take much. It's listening to good music or sing a good song, I don't know, or just have a nice, deep, honest, authentic conversation. This for me right here, Anna, this is self-care. I love it. It really gives me purpose, and it makes me understand that I progress in life, and it makes me feel good. And this is my form of self-care. So there are many ways of self-care. It doesn't always have to be a spa. Being in a spa always makes me feel like I could do something else.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't relax. Yeah. But I never felt, I've never been in an interesting, inspiring conversation and felt like there's something better I could have done. Never. So to take care of yourself is actually a act of grace for those around you.
Do you have more lessons you'd like to share?
From my own life, but I'm a mother now. I just really, once I started and proactively told myself, and I was about to say the energies around me, the field around me, that I am now willing to receive information, that I know that that I'm not by myself in companionship, by those who have been before me, which was so difficult to accept because I don't know any grandmothers. I don't know nobody in my family. So I always felt like I don't have any roots, and I always felt very lonesome. But I now know that I am a part of a lineage of amazing, strong, warrior-like goddesses, angels, and energies that are still around me and taking care of me, because I noticed this in my life all the time. I've been in so many situations that really could have turned out not so good. I've always got out healthy and unharmed. So I am, the dreams I have always point me into a direction that is good for myself, which I might not understand in that situation, because when I dreamt the title of that book, I thought, what the F? Whoever sent it to me, I don't know, was on maybe smoked the wrong pot. Because I didn't feel like I was the one to write that book, but during this, the research and all the information and blessings I received during writing this book and now promoting this book, it could have been, it's just perfect. I think I was born to write that book.
You definitely were.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this lesson, because this is what I've learned when my mom passed away, and my dad, who was always kind of a caring dad, suddenly switched and turned me into an enemy or something. It was very, very strange. The only person I had in my family that was still there, should have been there for me, turned against me. And suddenly all these women came out of nowhere. My mom's best friend and the other friend and my aunt, whom my mom hasn't spoken to in past 15 years. My aunt was suddenly there. My lawyer was female. The judge was female. Suddenly, there were all these women in these worst moments of my life, and they supported me. And I suddenly became aware of this tribe, and I bought myself a T-shirt. I saw a T-shirt in a window. It said, "With my witches."
And I was like, that T-shirt.
Yeah, I have to send you the picture. And I'm like, I really have my witches around me. Now that my mom is gone, now I feel them, because my mom was always such a big presence. And then when I started with this podcast, it even opened this feeling even more. And now I feel this bigger tribe from all around the world of women who are and who were, and how connected we are. We just have to allow ourselves to feel that, and understand that we are all one and that we live one life. I listened, you're my 100th interview, and I listened to all these lives of these women, of, farmers in Kenya and women who grew up in Nepal and I don't know, accountants from Switzerland, and they sound so different, but they're all same lives. And we are so connected, and there lies such a big power in that. We just have to recognize it and accept it, open ourselves to it.
Amen. And I could have not said it more emotional or eloquent. It's just 100% what I feel, and it really made me tear up, because I had chills really all over my body, because it's so true. We are not aware that feminine love and motherly love doesn't always be a DNA connected. No. I have many women who mothered me in my life, and I am so deeply thankful. And I believe in this so-called soul contract. I believe that we agreed one day, my mother, she won't not be able in this lifetime to give me what I need, but you are going to step in, and in another lifetime I am going to step in. I think we are all one, just like you said, and we are, and this is our nature. That's what in my research, and that's why I feel like I am really born to write this book, because our nature has always been around a fire, women in community singing with each other, with the drum, with the frame drum, opening into another level of consciousness and communicating not just by voice, but by emotion, by empathy, by connection. And this is our true nature. This is not supernatural. It's not natural to send a text. It's not natural to just only talk on Insta or whatever. This is not natural. To have a connection on a deeper level, to just think of somebody, and then all of a sudden you see them on the streets, or they call you up. This is natural. And if we harness this power in our lives, we can accomplish things that are so much bigger than our brain is able to process. And this is what I want to, I don't want to teach it. I want to preach it, because I'm not the one to teach. I want to preach it. I want to remember women of the fact that we are all one. We are all same, but different. And one woman that empowers another is just, this is just our nature. This is how it's supposed to be. Women supporting, empowering, lifting each other up. And that's it.
Oh, what a beautiful place to end our interview.
Yes,
let's just quickly remind our listeners what we talked about, the lessons that you've learned in such a different way. I love how you talked about learning through the difficulties, learning about empathy and learning to support others through your own, your own experiences. We talked about self-care and how taking care of yourself is an act of grace, you said, towards those around you. We talked about following your dreams, especially as a mother, because we're not doing our children any service if we are unfulfilled and unhappy. And the huge lesson about asking for help, that being able to ask for help is actually a sign of strength and not weakness. Did I miss anything?
You didn't miss a beat. You didn't miss a beat. But there are so many lessons in this book. And
I know.
Like you said, it's very dense and it's very full of, because it's a lifetime of lessons that I've lived that I wanted to put into this book. So I really would love for everybody to read this book and to feel the knowledge that is inside, because it's about, I write it from my perspective, but this book is about you, Anna. This book is about every woman existing on this planet.
Absolutely. We need to translate it into English.
It's on my vision board, English and Spanish.
Okay,
so
good.
We got this covered.
Yes, great.
Maybe there is a translator listening.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Jasmin, thank you so much for being my guest. I'm very excited about meeting you, having you in my life.
It's not the last time, Anna. You are a blessing too. Thank you.
If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyoumama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Teider. That's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.